Hi, this is Becky. Welcome back to my channel. And I'm trying to get more confident with just when a message hits me, getting the camera, getting it on film, and putting it out there without all the forethought and writing it down. Now, that's still going to happen because I channel messages so fast that they come and they go, and I'm trying to grab them as much as possible. So I try to do the journaling so that way I can slow down myself as the conduit to deliver the messages to you. But there's a whole background process that is involved in that. That if you want to know more about, I would gladly share that information with you. So go ahead and schedule a free consultation at homans.consulting@gmail.com so we can talk about your current situation and how I can help. My whole goal is to educate people, right? That has been my passion since I was very little. I would go around and just share information, and I just verbal diarrhea it, whether I understood what messages I was delivering or not. It was just like blah, 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 blah. And then I would just skip along and keep moving. And needless to say, I had to learn a lot of lessons from a lot of people. And not all of them so fun, and even though I can laugh about it now, it's just more of a trauma response, which is why I wanted to do this video, is to talk about trauma responses. Because I do not look like what people would say is a typical divine feminine, okay? Divine feminine are usually more abrasive. They usually are more cold, detached, goal-oriented. They're very driven, purpose-driven, and they can be cutthroat. That is how a true divine feminine kind of is. However, she's usually a rebel with a good, godly cause. So she's not just going around being bossy and demanding just because God made her a woman and gave her a vajayjay, okay? That is not how that works. The woman has to be cultivated God's way, which I'm not saying that there aren't ways to do that. And I do think there are some religions that I've went and interviewed and talked with and got to sit in and learn a little bit more about. And what were they called? The Jesus of the Latter-day Saints. I'm sorry if I messed these things up. Again, I get a lot of information that comes through this vessel, and so I try to write it down or store it in a database, because I always trying to, like with a computer, right? You got to clear the cache or clear the browser and reset, and your brain has to function kind of the same way. And if people are attacking your lifestyle, so it messes with your pineal gland and your sleep patterns, and then you end up spiraling sometimes like this. So right now, those people who are spiritually gifted understand that I am under spiritual attack, because people don't want this message out. They've been trying to attack my throat chakra, my sacral chakra, pull on my sexual energy. So I'm constantly having to fight spiritually to keep my shield up, but I've learned how to just kind of have my sword next to my side. Instead of always running forward into the battle, which is how the Native Americans really do handle their challenges. When God gives them a challenge, they are taught at a younger age to head straight into that battle and how to observe, listen, speak less, and analyze the situation more, and then retreating within oneself to commune with Great Spirit, to then make a decision to move forward. In America, they want the youth being instant gratification, and they want them in the moment, they want them distracted, they want them on video games, they want them at the concerts, they want them psychedelics, they want them doing all this other stuff that is part of their path because they have to go through experiences, right? But again, if you are looking for a fast track to the ascension process because you've already been doing the work all along, that's when the universe will connect you with my videos. That means that you are at a point where you are ready for change. Means you've done the work, you're sick of being in the isolation, you're wanting to come out of your, what we call the caterpillar stage of life. And we want to, nobody can help crack open your little cocoon. That has to happen from the inside. And then once all the debris in your life starts to fall away, just like the chrysalis falls away, and then the butterfly, if you're catching me now, this is where you're starting to pump the blood back through the vessels in your spiritual being in order to fluff up those butterfly wings to get ready to fly. So I need you to just go ahead and be reassured that you are right where you're supposed to be, that you continue to trust the process, because right now you're probably alone going, I don't know who I can trust anymore. I am so confused right now. And that is probably because you have people around you who don't like that you are changing. The people closest to us are used to us being a certain way. And then when we start to evolve and change, that means it's a domino effect, because the role that we played in their life is going to be changed. So maybe we played a very big supporting role in that person's life, but now we have to pull back our supports because somebody else is going to need it. Well, that's going to create emotional problems. That's going to trigger trauma wounds. And there's a lot of levels to these decisions, because people don't realize is that yes, we are a community-based species, but we are also being forced into survival mode at all times. Even when we're talking about fun things, like I said in a previous video, it's almost like Pinocchio, having fun in Fantasyland. He's enjoying, I think, do you get to like smoke cigars and play gambling cards and like poker and stuff. Like I think he got to go and do all the like forbidden stuff. But then at some point he started getting sick and he realized this really isn't fun. How do I get out of here? And then he got trapped, right, by Geppetto. No, not Geppetto. Geppetto's the good one. I can't remember. It was the carnival guy who wanted to keep him a puppet, right? And wanted to control him and keep his strings and make sure that, oh, you need my money, you must work for me, or, oh, you'll never find a better spouse, you have to stay married to me, whatever it is, right? We don't want you to be that puppet on the string. So I, with my ancestors' blessing, wanted to be the fairy godmother that comes in at the end after Pinocchio has kind of learned all the lessons and he's sitting there all like forlorn going, but I just want to be a real boy. I did all the things that they said would make me a real boy and it didn't work. And now I don't know what to do. And then that's when she comes in and says, you've always been a real boy and you've always had the love that you seek in Geppetto, your father, right? His adopted father. So to me, this is a story that highlights the love of God for us, that even when we go off and we sin and we make ourselves sick, that there's always a way back to God. And it's through your ancestors, through your angels, through your prayers. It's through your connection to God. And if you don't have that connection right now and you want that connection, or you want to strengthen your connection, I can help you with that. So, I mean, Jesus really is the truth, the way, and the light. And I know people want to question that, but if you look at all the other, because I've been studying, I consider myself an omnist more than anything, and a naturalist. But if you look at all the other spiritual guru leaders, right, they all admitted that Jesus was one way, right? But they also said they were also a way, which is true. But they all agreed that Jesus was a way. So if you've got all of these gurus that all say that Jesus is the way, and Jesus is actually the only one who says, yeah, I'm the way. I'm the way. Believe it or not, I'm the way. And that's kind of what I'm doing for you, is I'm going to say, I know you're sitting there going, that woman's too happy. How could she be happy? She must not have problems. Oh, contraire, mon cher. I've got plenty. But I've been graced with God's wisdom and holiness that I could never be here if it wasn't for him. It literally is a miracle that I'm even alive today. Miracle. I have escaped death so many times that I have to laugh at the devil's face. When something happens now, outrageously, car accident, whatever, I'm like, Thank you, God. You're giving me a chance to see how you're going to come through on this one. I like it. I almost see it as like God is giving me like little scenarios. So each person that I meet gives me a little scenario, and then I help them co create a solution that they want. It's not me telling them what to do. I'm a sounding board. And then I help them, like I said, edit what they want to achieve and accomplish the goal that they have. And then I can also add on the services of helping then mentor the people around them to start shifting the mentality, because most of the time people are talking about that person instead of talking with that person. And sometimes they're talking with them and they're just not listening, not actively listening. So they might be looking at him saying, yeah, I hear your words, I understand what you're saying. They can parrot it back, but they're not really comprehending because that person is not on the same page with them spiritually, intellectually, conversationally. So a lot of times things can be worked out if you have a mediator, and that's where I would like to offer my services. So if you could go ahead and like, share, and subscribe, then that will let you know when I have more content. And if you can go ahead and share this, then we can get it out to a wider audience so we can get more people moving from illness to wellness. And I look forward to talking with you in my next video. Have a great day.